Hey, good morning. This is Trigger with the 4th Regiment Preppers out in Arizona. And fellas, if you guys haven't had a chance, and some of you probably have, I promised a quick little snap from the hip review on my AK-74 platform. That was just put up recently as, I think it was recently as last night. Brutus was in charge of the YouTube channel that night, and he should have put that up for you. So anyway, go to the website and check that out. I also promised a more in-depth and detailed technical review of the AK-74 platform. And I would like to knock a little bit of that out this morning before I head off to work, okay? I think the first segment we will talk about is going to be the ammunition for the AK-74. We're going to go ahead and talk about the 5.45x39 cartridge, which is right here, okay? Mean little sucker. It's called the Poison Bullet. Well, that's the nickname it's got. I mean, it's gotten the Poison Bullet nickname. It's gotten the Demon's Bullet nickname. They've called the rifle the Devil's Rifle. It's a very, very interesting little small cartridge, okay? And we're going to go into a little bit of facts and myth about that today. So this first little segment is going to primarily be about the ammunition. The 5.45x39 cartridge, which is designed to be fired in the AK-74. Okay, now you guys are probably familiar with this. This is the snap review I did last week. Okay, so 5.45x39mm. The cartridge was introduced. It was designed and introduced in between 1971 and 74. Okay, the Soviet and the Russian doctrine at that time was they were designing the AK-74 to go ahead and replace the AK-47. Primarily because of not only did they see what the Western powers and the United States was using, predominantly the M16 platform from Eugene Stoner, and all you AR-15 guys know what I'm talking about. So the Russians knew at the time that the 7.62x39 could not stand toe-to-toe with a 5.56. 5.56 is a lot faster. It has a flatter trajectory. It's a lot more accurate at long-range engagements. Whereas the 7.62x39 that was used in the AK-47, that is still a 30 caliber weapon. It's a 30 caliber cartridge. Its effective range is probably, if you're lucky, open sights. You're probably not going to hit something under 150 yards, maybe 200 max yards on that bullet, depending on the load and obviously what you got going on. But we're just talking basic surplus military ammunition here. So the Russians knew that if they wanted to survive, and guys, this was during the Cold War, and the Russians were always planning on going to war with the West and predominantly the United States, they knew that they had to have a weapon that could meet or be on par or on the same playing field as the M16 and the 5.56 cartridge. Hence, here we go, 5.45x39, okay? It was like I said, it started production in 1970 up to 1974. That's when the round had to be ready to go, and it's still in use today. As we covered on the AK-74 review I did with you guys, the round first primarily saw service during the Afghan-Soviet War, between the mid to late 70s, early 80s. Okay, so that's where it first started. There's a lot more conflicts that the rifle has been engaged in. It's been all over the world. The Georgian War. It's been all over the Middle East. I mean, this rifle is predominantly pretty much everywhere now. Okay. Now, just for purposes of full disclosure, when I made my little snap from the hip review about the AK-74, I just want to be perfectly clear that, look, I don't necessarily have anything against the AR-15 platform. I know I was kind of when I made that video, I kind of attacked the AK or the AR-15 platform a little bit, and I just wanted to apologize to my AR-15 buddies out there. Look, I got nothing against your rifle, fellas. It's just the fact that when we're talking about prepping and we're talking about money, I mean, you really have to legitimize, what kind of money am I going to spend here? I mean, I'm not in a position to go out and spend $1,500 on just a rifle. You're not counting magazines. You're not counting a good, healthy quantity of good ammunition. If you want spare parts for that rifle in case it breaks down, if you want optics for that rifle, I mean, guys, the bill's going to go up and up and up. So, again, like I said, it's a good weapon. I've fired the AR-15s. I've fired M16s. They're very, very, they're well-built guns. They're well-built rifles. But like I said, I'm just more of a soft spot in my heart for the AK platform. So you can't go wrong with an AK. So, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, that's my opinion. I think the AK-74 is a better weapon in respect to reliability, durability. Okay, I can't shoot, you know, a sub MOA of 1 inch at 300 yards. Okay, that's cool, but I do know that the 5.45x39 round is capable, and it's been proven time and time again. I've already told you guys, I fired this rifle out to 300 plus yards, open sights, iron sights on the rifle, without any optical aid, and I'm able to hit an MOA of like 3.5 inches. Now, just to put that in perspective, this CD is roughly about 5 inches across, 4.5, 5 inches across, okay? Now, visualize a target at 300 plus yards, let's say 320 yards. The 5.45 out of the AK-74 is capable, and it will do it. It will put a 3.5 inch kill shot on a target. So, if I put this up to my chest cavity, okay, because that's what we're talking about, chest shots, okay, basic body shot here, at 300 plus yards, I'm grouping in this shot. Now, if I have a stray bullet go somewhere like AKs do, sometimes you get one here, sometimes you get one over here, sometimes you get one in the neck, sometimes you get one down below your belly, okay? Doesn't matter where that shot placement's going to be, guys. You're going to be hurting, okay? So the AK-74 is accurate enough as far as the ammunition and the ballistics go with the 5.45x39. It's accurate enough to drop your target, and that's what we're talking about here. I mean, if you're going to engage a target at 500 plus yards with an AR-15 or an AK-74, you're praying. Now, I know the AR-15 is a lot more accurate, but at 500 yards, you're pushing the accuracy, because that 5.56 doesn't weigh anything, gentlemen. You're going to be affected by humidity, heat, wind. You know, these are subsonic rounds. As a matter of fact, this round right here, the predominant ammunition I have for my rifle is surplus military ammunition. These are the 7N22 rounds, 7N22, 7 November 22. Okay, a very predominant Soviet military round. Muzzle velocity on this round is 890 meters per second, or for us, it's 2,920 feet per second. So this round is screaming when it leaves. When it leaves the muzzle, it's screaming. It's almost at 3,000 feet per second, okay? Accuracy of fire at 326 yards, 3.5 inch grouping, okay? That's not bad. That's actually pretty respectable for an AK platform. So, again, that's one of the reasons I decided to go with an AK-74 for family protection, or WROL, okay? Now, in the previous review, I talked about, you know, the ammunition availability. Okay. Now, I want to clarify a couple things on that so there's no ambiguity. I want to make sure we're clear on something here. 5.45x39 is not as common as your run-of-the-mill 7.62x39 that's fired out of the Saga carbines, the SKSs, the AK-47s, whatever's chambered in that round. Some AR-15s are chambered in that round. Hey, it's cool, okay? However, 5.45x39, there is still a boatload of surplus ammunition. I've already told you guys that you can find 1,080 round 10s online at gun stores and the gun shows for a little over $100. J&G up in Prescott, I've seen these going for about $120 for a tin of 1,080 rounds. That's a pretty healthy chunk of 5.45x39. If you can't find that, Hornady. Everybody knows Hornady. It's a domestic ammunition manufacturer. They make outstanding ammunition. Hornady makes what's called a zombie round for these rifles, 5.45x39. It's a polymer tipped. So it basically has the ballistics of a full metal jacket, and when it hits its target, it turns into a hollow point. And Hornady is well known for hunting ammunition, and that's why they came out with that 5.45. You can find that ammo. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's a domestically made round. It's not as predominant as 7.62x39. It's not as predominant as 5.56, but you can still find it. There are American companies that do make 5.45x39. So if you are afraid of picking up an AK-74 platform because you're thinking, Trigger, again, what happens if I run out of ammo? What happens if I can't find the ammo? You can still find the ammo for these rifles. Now, why is the 5.45x39 known as the poison bullet? That's the tag that this bullet was given during the Soviet-Afghan war, again, between mid and late 1970s, okay? Because the wound channel that this little round was causing on enemy forces, the Mujahideen, was devastating. And the round does have a tumble and yaw effect, and that's primarily caused for, I wish I had a pen so I could really point this out. Hang on one second. I'm going to strip off a round here. So you got your round. Now, the bullet, okay, and I know it's kind of hard to see. I'll put this right here. The bullet of a 5.45 by 39 is very, very long. It's also a boat tail, okay, so it's very, very stable. It's very, very stable in flight, in trajectory, and its ballistics going to its target. Now, what makes the 5.45 so interesting is that the Soviet designers, when they designed the round, the cartridge, at the tip of this bullet, inside this, if I were to cut this open for you, there is a hollow cavity, an air-filled hollow cavity that basically takes a lot of weight off the tip of this bullet. So when this bullet fires, it's stable in flight. A misconception of a 5.45 is when it fires out of the barrel that it's tumbling and yawing towards its target. That's not true. That is completely false. So if anybody tells you, if you see online that, oh yeah, the 5.45s, they tumble through the air and then they hit their target, it's impossible. It can't do that, okay? The only thing you ever hear about is a term called keyholing. Now basically what keyholing is when you take an AK-47 or an AK-74, you fire at a paper target, instead of getting a nice round hole, you're getting a nice little slat hole where the round is kind of slatted down into there. It's tumbling. That's not caused because of the round. That's cause of imperfections inside the barrel. The rifling was done incorrectly. The rifle twist is wrong. There's some kind of protrusion inside the barrel. That's what causes that. It has nothing to do with the round itself. These rounds are very stable during flight, okay? The yawing effect and the tumbling effect happens when this round finally makes contact with its target, its flesh target. And when this round's going to hit that target, that's when that little air cavity at the top right here is going to deform, it's going to bend. So when that round goes into the flesh, then you're going to get the tumbling, rippling cavity effect. That's what the round's going to do as it bleeds off its kinetic energy once it hits its target. It's hydroshock, okay? So, the yawing characteristics, some argue that the round, the yawing and the tearing characteristics of the 5.45 by 39 are not as pumped up as they're made to be. Well, they are. There's been a lot of tests with a lot of predominant researchers basically using pig carcasses, which is the closest thing to a human flesh, using ballistics gel, using high-speed cameras, and they're really measuring the yaw and the twist and all that stuff, what happens when this round hits a target. It's a very, very deadly round, okay? So there's a lot of misconception about the lethality of this little 5.45 by 39 cartridge. Don't be fooled by people, okay? It's a very, very, very good round, okay? Another feature, and a lot of the reloaders that may watch this, or a lot of the ammunition experts will appreciate with this little round, is inside the casing. This is a steel casing, lacquer. It's a steel case. It's a lacquer finish. The round, the cartridge is also sealed at the burden primer and at the neck for moisture protection. So you can really store these in a humid environment. I don't recommend it, but you could. And the round will fire perfectly, it'll function perfectly because there's no moisture impacting the powder, okay? Another interesting part of the 5.45 is if you look at the cartridge data as far as the type of powder used, the propellant, this uses more of what's called a square charge, okay? Now, with a square charge, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck, so to speak, and it's in layman's terms. The powder is going to burn a lot better. It's going to burn more evenly, and it's going to put more pressure at the end of this bullet, and it's going to stabilize it better. It's going to have more power behind it. The Soviet designers who designed this, okay, and it was a collaboration of several of them, okay, they really did their homework on designing a fast subsonic round, a small caliber, because that's the way everybody was going back then. They wanted to design something that would get the job done, and they've done it, okay? 5.45 by 39 is a very, very scary round. I mean, I've fired these at cinder block. I've fired these at, steel plates. They do some damage. Now, will this round, like I said, these are steel core penetrators, so it will go through a 1/4 inch steel plate. I mean, that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to defeat armor, okay? It'll lose a lot of energy doing that, but it's still going to go through and hit its target, and it's going to ruin your day. So you can't go wrong with these. Plus the weight of this round, the full weight of this bullet, 166 grains, okay? That's the weight of the entire cartridge, 166 grains, as opposed to maybe 200 and, I think it was like 240 grains. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, It's like 200 plus grains for an AK-47 round, a 7.62x39. It's a lot heavier, okay? So you can pack in a battle rattle, which is about 300 plus rounds, you can pack a lot of 5.45 on you and be able to move. You're not going to be all weighed down by all this ammo that you may be carrying, and it's going to make you tired, and you're going to wipe you out. So you can't go wrong with these rounds. So they're very well designed. They're very well designed. I mean, it's a boat tail, it's a hollow point. These are a hollow. It's a cavity in the front, which makes this that's the design genius behind this round. It's a long bullet, boat tail, okay, for stability in flight. It has an air cavity in the front of the nose, okay, in front of the nose of this round. There's a little air cavity, and that's exclusively designed so when it hits its target, it starts to tumble and yaw, and that's where you get the wound cavity, the channel. That's where you get the shock inside by your organs. The human body's not designed to take a lot of pressure and shock, and that's what these are designed to ensue. They just introduce all kinds of things that make your internal organs just go bleh. They're not nice. You can still find the ammo. Like I said, there is tons of surplus. Wolf Ammunition makes this. Silver Bear, Brown Bear makes this ammunition. It's a little harder to find nowadays because of the gun craze going on, but you can still acquire a plentiful amount of ammunition for an AK-74. Hornady probably makes the best rounds out there for this best commercial rounds for this rifle out there. They have the little polymer tip, boat tail, hunting rounds. Now, they work just fine, okay? But in my opinion, I still believe you should go with the ammunition that the rifle is designed to fire, and that is Russian military. They come in there. There's 4 types of rounds. You got 7N6, 7N10, 7N22, which is what I have, 7T3, which is a tracer round, you know, lights up the sky, and 7KH3. That's a trailing round. These are very exotic ammunition. You're not really gonna find these. The most common is the 7N10 and the 7N22. That's what you're going to find. 7N10 and 7N22. Now the 7N10 round is 55.9 grain, as opposed to the 7N22, which is 56.8 grain. Okay? And I apologize if I keep looking down at my table, but it's a lot of information I want to give to you guys about this, and it's hard to try to memorize all that at once. So you can't go wrong with a 5.45. It's a very potent round. It has a hell of a muzzle velocity. It's actually, the recoil is nothing. These things are, it's actually less recoil than a 5.56, if you can believe that, okay? It's a very accurate round out to 300 plus yards. I mean, open sights, you're hitting a target with a 3.5 inch grouping at 320 yards. I mean, guys, that's not bad for an AK, okay? Whereas opposed to an AK-47, you may get a shot like this big. It's still a kill shot, but you have the possibility of missing your target, okay? 3.5 grouping is not bad at all. So don't be fooled by people saying, "Oh hell, man, trigger it's not even accurate." It's accurate enough. You put sights on an AK-74, you put a POSP scope, or you put a POSP rail on the side of the receiver, like I showed you guys on the rifle. You can mount up a nice little scope on it. You can mount up a red dot, a hollow sight. You can improve your accuracy tenfold, okay, with an AK-74 platform. So the round is very accurate. It was designed beautifully. It was designed from the ground up. They didn't just take a 5.45 and go, let's modify it. No. This was built from the ground up to feed the AK-74s coming online in Soviet military at the time, the 70s. The Soviets were still around, to defeat the M16. That's what these were built for. It's a very, 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 very good round. Okay? Civil use, the 5.45, again, civilian use. It was not really designed for civilian use. Again, these are designed for combat. These are designed for battle. Okay, but like companies like Hornady and Silver Bear and Brown Bear, like we discussed, they do make commercial ammunition for this rifle that's non-corrosive, that is a little bit better tolerances, a little bit better ballistics, but it's hard to find right now because of the gun craze and the ammunition craze. So your best bet's to stay with the surplus 5.45x39, and you get a lot more for your money. Okay, if I had to spend 150, 200 bucks on a 10 of 1,080 rounds, that's 1,080 rounds. I could put that in storage for prepping in WROL and don't have to worry about it. I got 1,080 rounds ready for rock and roll if I ever need it. Okay, can't go wrong. There's a lot of documentation on the AK-74, and actually one of my books that I like, that really turned me on to this, is this right here. It's called AK-74. This is the weapon that changed the face of war. This is by a very good author, Larry, forgive me if I pronounce his last name wrong, but it's Larry, I think it's Kahangr, Kahangr. It's a very, very good book, okay? He covers the aspects, the pros and cons of the AK-47, the AK-74, the testing phase of the AR-15 when that was coming online by Eugene Stoner, okay? Talks a lot about Kalashnikov in here. It's a really good resource reading if you're interested in the AK platform. Now this is one of hundreds of books, but I found this one to be really, really factual. A lot of good opinion from him in there. He's actually been on the ground studying these weapons. He's done his homework as opposed to, you know, the AK-47 and the AK-74 and how it's changed the face of warfare. Okay, there's nothing to argue about there. The AK-47 and the AK-74 are the most dominant weapons you'll find in the world because they're made in such huge numbers. You're not going to find any other weapon system that has that kind of numbers. Okay, that's just the way it is. So that's good reading right there. I'll hold it up right there so you can see it. That's the author, and it's a really good book. It's a very, very good book. You can pick this up for about, I don't know, like 15 bucks, maybe cheaper now. It's a little old. So there's a little bit more in-depth information in regards to the 5.45x39 cartridge. Okay, predominantly, specifically the 7N22, because that's what I'm firing out of my rifle. So, you know, like I said, that's just my opinion. I'm just bringing you guys a little facts, and you know, you will feel free to comment, and we can argue and debate about it. Hey, I love argument and debate. I mean, that's how you learn things. But it's just my opinion on the rifle. It's a very, very good round. The rifle's a very sound rifle. You can't go wrong with 5.45x39 as far as penetration, ballistics, accuracy. I mean, it's a good round, okay? And the 5.45 rounds, surplus, are a lot cheaper than commercial 5.56 or 223 Remington. I mean, these are probably like 26 cents a round, okay? Even today. So, you can't go wrong if you're looking at it from a money standpoint. You can't go wrong, okay? So anyway, this is Trigger with the 4th Regiment Preppers out in Arizona, and again, I promised you fellas that I would put up a series of videos on the technical aspects of an AK-74. This is the first one, just a little bit of information on the 5.45x39. Feel free to comment me or give me a comment if you disagree with something I said. Hey, post it up on our channel. Let me know. I'm not one of those people that just turns away comments. I welcome comments from my fellow preppers. If I got something wrong, let me know. And I'll be more than happy to clarify for you, or we can correct the information, okay? But that's just my opinion on the 5.45x39. It's a good round. It's cost effective. It's a very deadly round. It was designed for one thing, to tear you up. That's what it's for, okay? So anyway, this Trigger with the 4th Reg, and I gotta get out of here. I gotta get to bed because I gotta go to work tonight. Stay tuned. Probably in a couple days, I'm gonna put. We're gonna go back to the rifle itself, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about some more in-depth features as far as that rifle is concerned. We'll cover a little bit more on the sights. We'll cover the barrel, what kind of barrel that this rifle is equipped with. We'll talk about chrome lining and why that's important. We'll talk about the guts of the AK-74 and how similar they are basically to an AK-47 setup. We'll talk about the triggers. We'll talk about the stamped receiver, stamped versus milled receiver. We'll cover everything on that rifle. The sights, you name it, we'll cover it. And because I want to bring you guys really, really good information as for the rifle. So if you want to make a decision, hey, I do like an AK-74. I would like to go out and probably try to find one of those. Then you are armed with good information from yours truly, Trigger, to go ahead and do that. So anyway, talk to you guys later. I got to get out of here. I got to go to bed. So this is Trigger with the 4th Reg saying peace out. Keep prepping. Keep your powder dry.